Outlander, Blood of My Blood Season 1, Episode 2 Ending Explained. The two introductory episodes of Outlander, Blood of My Blood set the tone for the rest of the series. Ellen and Brian's recollections from the 18th century, which started with the passing of Lord Jacob MacKenzie, Laird of Castle Leoch, were included in the first episode of Season 1. The man had passed away without leaving a will. The clan's task at the event was to decide between Dougal and Colum. Although here is where Ellen and Brian first met, the first episode of Outlander, Blood of My Blood introduces us to a number of other significant characters. Claire's mother, Julia Beauchamp, was a maid at Castle Leoch, the residence of Lord Lovat and Brian Fraser. Henry Beauchamp was also seen with Clan Grant. Outlander, Blood of My Blood, Season 1, Episode 2, explained exactly how Henry and Julia got together in the 18th century. The couple was involved in a car accident at the end of Episode 1, which Claire thought would have killed them in Outlander, but instead it caused them to jump through time. Henry and Julia were split up right away and now have to figure out how to get out of their current situations. Julia is trapped in the service of Lord Lovat, and is hiding a secret. In Outlander, Blood of My Blood, Julia was kidnapped by a Highlander family while searching for Henry. In order to settle their debts, they sold her to Lord Lovat. Julia didn't understand she was no longer in the 20th century until she was confronted with the truth of her servitude. In addition to not knowing how to get out of Castle Leoch, Julia also had no idea how to get back to her own time. The news that Julia is expecting Claire's younger sibling was announced in the first episode of Season 1 of Outlander, Blood of My Blood. Naturally, this is very familiar. In Outlander, Claire was unaware that her mother had previously been in a similar situation. Here are some significant distinctions, though. In addition to being a time traveler, Julie has another secret. The news that Julia is expecting Claire's younger sibling was announced in the first episode of Season 1 of Outlander, Blood of My Blood. Claire was unaware of this information as well. Of course, we still don't know if Julia actually gave birth to her child. It's probably crucial that Lord Lovat and his domestic staff are unaware of her pregnancy at this time. Despite her title as a maidservant, Julia is unmistakably a slave. The fact that the husband Julia is trying to get back together with is likewise from the 18th century is another important distinction between Claire's imprisonment at Castle Leoch in Outlander and Julia's situation in Blood of My Blood. Although Henry is actually with another Highland clan, Julia thinks he has probably returned home to Claire in England. Despite not being a slave, Henry is in danger. Clan Grant's bladier in Outlander, Blood of My Blood is Henry. Outlander, Blood of My Blood, Season 1, Episode 1 implied that Henry Beauchamp was Clan Grant's bladier while also hinting to Julia's position at Castle Leoch. The exact way he got there is revealed in Episode 2. Henry found the SWAT, sealed with a kiss, that Julia had scribbled on a nearby boulder once he had gotten through the stones. He followed her arrow, but he ended himself in a pub after traveling far farther than his wife. At this point, Henry encountered the Grants, who were occupied with negotiating with the Camerons. After receiving some legal counsel, Henry was being pulled to visit Laird Isaac Grant. Henry was immediately offered the position because it was obvious to this individual that he was more honest and knowledgeable than his present bladier. For Highlander leaders, bladiers serve as crucial messengers or representatives. Even though Henry turned down Isaac Grant's offer at first, it soon became clear that he would have a very difficult time finding Julia on his own. Henry will finally arrive at Castle Leoch as the bladier for the Grants. Naturally, the Grants are somewhat distracted by their interactions with the Mackenzies at the moment. Colum intends to give Malcolm Grant Ellen's hand, but only if he pays. In Outlander, Blood of My Blood, Season 1, Episode 1, the Grants attended the party at Castle Leoch, and things soon became out of control. It is evident from this prequel series that Dougal MacKenzie is still a hothead, which led to him quickly running afoul of the other clans. Dougal attacked their fleeing group, thinking that Ellen had been abducted by Malcolm Grant. Dougal's disagreement with the Grants is sufficient to convince the Mackenzies that he is not a suitable leader. Making everything right will demonstrate that Colum is. In fact, this is exactly what Colum MacKenzie had in mind. Colum is at a disadvantage because of his infirmity. Claire mentioned that he had Toulouse-Lautrec syndrome in Outlander, and his tribe will have to decide between him and Dougal to be Laird. Dougal's disagreement with the Grants is sufficient to convince the Mackenzies that he is not a suitable leader. Making everything right will demonstrate that Colum is. Ned was given instructions by Colum to propose a union between Ellen and Malcolm in return for harmony between the Grants and Mackenzies. In Blood of My Blood Episode 2, we witness Ned make this offer to Henry and guarantee that he will assist Henry in finding his girl if the bladier closes the contract. Remarkably, J.